a lot of, I think what I kind of lean more towards is I would rather have accurate data than inflated modeled data. And so a lot of that is like really trying to communicate with the client and like explain that to them. And it really takes like a client that's willing to be a partner and like willing to listen and understand and hear that like the platform is changing and the platform is not as it was in 2020 or 2019, where you could have 28-day click and everything looked great and that was awesome. And so what I've told my small spending clients that don't have any third-party tracking softwares, I'm like, hey, it may not make sense for us to pay $300 a month for Triple Whale, and I get that, and that's fine. However, in the accounts that I do have Triple Whale and the accounts that I've been able to kind of compare them, 7-day click is more accurate than 7-day
Yeah.
click, 1-day view. And on Triple Whale, I mean, obviously they also have, view-based attribution, but the problem is that view-based is modeled, whether it's on third party or in platform, because the third party softwares go off of the pixel data. So you have to click on the ad to fire the pixel. And so if you don't click on the ad to fire the pixel for Triple Whale or Northbeam or whoever to pick that up, then they're just using Meta's modeling. And so Meta's modeling, it's just that it's a guess, it's algorithm driven, it's AI driven, we think someone saw this. And so what I've tried to tell people is, or tell my clients is that, okay, so we're not going to see the 5x return that we used to see. And I need you to be okay with that. And I'm going to show you all these other numbers that kind of show that it's still like a healthy landscape for ads. But I would rather underreport and be correct than like overreport and be incorrect. So like I have a client, one of my smaller clients used to be at like a 6 to 8x always. And they were just cruising along. They were great. And then now, and they also have a higher AOV. And so now I'm like, well, we're not going to see that. Good for us now, maybe a 2 or a 3 in platform. But, we know that we're only running meta ads. We're not running anything else. So there's no other way, in theory, for new people to find out about us except for word of mouth or things like that. But, as long as the numbers overall are looking good, I would rather have correct data and say, it might be more than this, but like we think for sure this is like 90% correct. So like when I would compare my Triple Whale to my in platform for clients that did have that, we've gotten on 7-day click down to like only like a 3 to 5% discrepancy between what Meta said and what Triple Whale said on 7-day click only. So that's kind of what I tell them is like, if you're not willing to pay $300 a month, which is fine, and I'm not pushing you and I get that and that's fine, then this is the way that I think it can be most accurate. And I need you just to trust that, like I always say, like, marketing is never going to be a one size fits all. Marketing is I always am going to say it depends when someone asks me a question, because humans aren't robots. And we can't just like say that they're going to do this, and because I did this, humans are going to do this, and that just doesn't happen. And so we have to be able to use like psychology and hypotheses and like what we think as expert, talented marketers. This is what I think is happening, and this is what I think we should do. But I think a lot of that is just like that, like clear communication with the client.
Yeah, definitely. And I would say that I have recommended that's what we do. I think it's transitioning them away from it now. So like if you've got campaigns which look like they're performing, is it best to, so say with like an Advantage Plus, if you're going to switch it out of that setup attribution wise, would you completely restart it, or would you just change the attribution setting in that campaign? How do you make that transition? Do you make a very clean break across everything, or like they feel quite comfortable, I think, with testing it with one new campaign, so I can show them how it looks against what we're currently doing?
Yeah, I think I would say it depends. It depends what type of learnings you're looking to get. So like if I have a campaign that's doing really well and it's been doing really well and I don't really want to break it, it's doing great and I want to keep it going, and like we're not really looking for like that clean break in like proving to the client 7-day click, 1-day view versus 7-day click, then I would probably just change it in the active campaign. But if it's like not working super great, or if it doesn't have that much data, or if we're really trying to show the client like this is the difference, here's a hard break, then I would turn it off and rebuild it. What do you think, Mark?
Okay.
I think for me, yeah, I think the same way, especially if most of those conversions are coming in as views through. So if you were to look into the attribution data and you're seeing that like literally like 70% of your conversions are view through, then obviously you know that it's not performing, and I'll do a clean break.
Yeah,
Just so you
I
have
think
clean
that sounds
data.
good.
Otherwise you have to know when you made that change, and then you're going to track it afterwards. So
Yeah,
yeah.
cool. But
Yeah,
I want them to do it, so
what's that?
I want them to do it. It's like I just sort of keep saying, look, we've just got to do this now, basically, because I think fundamentally they're losing out. So I've convinced them. I just need to set the wheels in motion of how we do it, I think.
Yeah, I think I have a question for you, Courtney. So let's say, by the way, what's up, Brett?
Hey, friend.
Hello. So you talk about you have some clients, or some clients that are just doing Facebook ads. Do you have clients where they're also multi-channel, where they're doing like Google ads and other, like organic really well? And how do you explain, MER to them when these other channels are also performing? And how do you talk about attribution with that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that too, actually, we used to have a client with Foxwell that it was really hard to try to explain the lift of Facebook ads to them after the attribution problems, because they had a really strong influencer program, really strong organic, and they did a lot of Google. And they were still actually, they were really small. So I think for them, it's a lot of like heart to heart conversations as much as you can, and try to explain to them like the lift of that. If they are, if they have the room, and if they're like super not listening, you could even try like a holdout test. I think Phil actually posted in the membership this morning about a holdout test that he had done with a client. So we've done that before, where we paused ads for like a month, and then like as like a ad buyer agency, we would like do other things that way we could like still keep their business and things. But doing a holdout test to kind of show the lift of that. And so like when Phil actually posted this a screenshot where like when meta spend went down, so did Amazon and Google and those types of things. So that can be a good way to do it. But man, I think most of it is just trying to explain like how marketing works, and like explaining to them like humans, they're going to see things with multiple touch points, and they may not even remember that they saw it with the touch point. Also getting in like post-purchase surveys. We got both of our small clients that acted like that on no. And the first one that you asked is, how did you first hear about us? And then you can kind of get into like deeper questions as well. But even being able to like ask that question, we saw that we had significantly than more purchases on the post-purchase survey than we did in platform. And then we also started asking like, how long did it take from the time that you first heard about us until you made your first purchase? And I think one of the clients, it was like 3 to 4 months on average. And so we were able to kind of show them like, hey, like even if you know even if we're running ads, or if we're not running ads, like there is this delay that we're never going to be able to track. Even if we had 28-day click, we would have never been able to track this. And then also like changing budget has also been helpful, where like we had a client that was spending about like, I think they were spending like 20K a month. And then we aren't working with them anymore, but they kind of over time went from like 20 down to like 11K a month. And so then like 3 months after we went down to 11K, they were like, hey, like our sales are down. And we're like, okay, let's look at this data. Let's show you. Let's kind of look and see how this is going. But like it is directly affected to, or related to, the spend. And so I think it's communication, and then it's like as many data points as you can have, in my opinion, of its total effect. But I know like some people just don't want to hear like, well, it's MER, it's all of it. And I try to explain to clients like, I'm not trying to take credit for platforms that I'm not managing, but like marketing is not completely linear, and the way that people view brands and products and buying things, it's very wide. And so it's we see a TikTok, and then we see an Instagram ad, and then we see an influencer, and then we see it on Amazon, or I saw an ad for something, and then I saw it in Dick's Sporting Goods, and I was like, oh look, I saw that as an ad, and then I bought it because I was like, I saw it as an ad and I thought it was cool, and now I get to see it in person. And so there's just like there's no way to be able to like perfectly track that. That's kind of my thought.